The dreamers are the saviors of the world. Act is the blossom of thought, and joy and suffering are its fruits. When spirit rises and commands, the gods are ready to obey. He who would accomplish little needs sacrifice little. He who would achieve much must sacrifice much. He who would attain highly must sacrifice greatly. The world is your kaleidoscope, and the varying combinations of colors, which at every succeeding moment it presents to you, are the exquisitely adjusted pictures of your ever-moving thoughts. You will be what you will to be. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. The outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. A man do not attract that which they want, but that which they are. As he thinks, so he is. As he continues to think, so he remains. A man is literally what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. A person is limited only by the thoughts that he chooses. The more tranquil a man becomes, the greater is his success, his influence, his power for good. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. Circumstance does not make the man. It reveals him to himself. Do not dwell upon the sins and mistakes of yesterday so exclusively as to have no energy and mind left for living rightly today. And do not think that the sins of yesterday can prevent you from living purely today. Men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. As the visible world is sustained by the invisible, so men, through all their trials and sins and sordid vocations, are nourished by the beautiful visions of their solitary dreamers. As a man thinketh in his heart, so shall he be. The world steps aside for the man who knows where he is going. A noble and godlike character is not a thing of favor or chance, but is the natural result of continued effort in right thinking, the effect of long-cherished association with godlike thoughts. The visions you glorify in your mind, the ideals you enthrone in your heart. This you will build your life, by this you will become. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It is the result of long and patient effort in self-control. Its presence is an indication of ripened experience and of a more than ordinary knowledge of the laws and operations of thought. Men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are. To desire is to obtain. To aspire is to achieve. The law of harvest is to reap more than you sow. Sow an act, and you reap a habit. Sow a habit, and you reap a character. Sow a character, and you reap a destiny. Dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so shall you become. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. Man is made or unmade by himself. By the right choice he ascends. As a being of power, intelligence, and love, and the Lord of his own thoughts, he holds the key to every situation. All that a man achieves and all that he fails to achieve is the direct result of his own thoughts. The body is the servant of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind, whether they be deliberately chosen or automatically expressed. Suffering is always the effect of wrong thought in some direction. It is an indication that the individual is out of harmony with himself, with the law of his being. A man can only rise, conquer, and achieve by lifting up his thoughts. Man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. Whether you be man or woman, you will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. Work joyfully and peacefully, knowing that right thoughts and right efforts inevitably bring about right results. The strong, calm man is always loved and revered. He is like a shade-giving tree in a thirsty land, or a sheltering rock in a storm. Who does not love a tranquil heart, a sweet-tempered, balanced life? It does not matter whether it rains or shines, or what changes come to those possessing these blessings, for they are always sweet, serene, and calm. That exquisite poise of character, which we call serenity, is the last lesson of culture, the fruitage of the soul. It is precious as wisdom, more to be desired than gold, yea, than even fine gold. How insignificant mere money-seeking looks in comparison with a serene life, a life that dwells in the ocean of truth, beneath the waves, beyond the reach of tempests, in the eternal calm. Your circumstances may be uncongenial, but they shall not long remain so if you but perceive an ideal and strive to reach it. You cannot travel within and stand still without. Here is a youth hard-pressed by poverty and labor, confined long hours in an unhealthy workshop, unschooled, and lacking all the arts of refinement. But he dreams of better things. He thinks of intelligence, of refinement, of grace and beauty. He conceives of, mentally builds up, an ideal condition of life. The vision of a wider liberty and a larger scope takes possession of him. Unrest urges him to action, and he utilizes all his spare time and means, small though they are, to the development of his latent powers and resources. Very soon, so altered has his mind become that the workshop can no longer hold him. It has become so out of harmony with his mentality that it falls out of his life as a garment is cast aside, and, with the growth of opportunities which fit the scope of his expanding powers, he passes out of it forever. He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. Cherish your visions. Cherish your ideals. Cherish the music that stirs in your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind, the loveliness that drapes your purest thoughts, for out of them will grow all delightful conditions, all heavenly environment. Of these, if you but remain true to them, your world will at last be built. The greatest achievement was at first and for a time a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. Love and grief our hearts dividing, with our tears his feet we bathe, constant still, in faith abiding, life deriving from his death. Composer, sculptor, painter, poet, prophet, sage, these are the makers of the afterworld, the architects of heaven. None but right acts can follow right thoughts, none but a right life can follow right acts. And by living a right life all blessedness is achieved. Mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought, and, shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. The heart that sins must sorrow. The human will, that force unseen, the offspring of a deathless soul, can hew the way to any goal, though walls of granite intervene. As you cannot have a sweet and wholesome abode unless you admit the air and sunshine freely into your rooms, so a strong body and a bright, happy, or serene countenance can only result from the free admittance into the mind of thoughts of joy and goodwill and serenity. A man becomes calm in the measure that he understands himself as a thought-evolved being, for such knowledge necessitates the understanding of others as the result of thought, and as he develops a right understanding, and sees more and more clearly the internal relations of things by the action of cause and effect, he ceases to fuss and fume and worry and grieve, and remains poised, steadfast, serene. The calm man, having learned how to govern himself, knows how to adapt himself to others, and they, in turn, reverence his spiritual strength and feel that they can learn of him and rely upon him. The more tranquil a man becomes, the greater is his success, his influence, his power for good.